Final Fantasy VII, released back in 1997 for the PlayStation, is considered to be one of the greatest RPGs, if not the greatest game, of all time. Later, in 2000, the game was re-released with the greatest hit status. The game had amazing production values that showed throughout the entire game and never failed to impress. The game was of a genre known as the Japanese RPG genre, compiled of some of the most well-received games. Crisis Core revolves around a character briefly seen in Final Fantasy VII and Final Fantasy VII Advent Children, who goes by the name of Zack Fair. The storyline is a prequel to Final Fantasy VII, but if you've already played 7, you will recognize most of the characters. While the characters may not have the same kind of charm as the original cast did, you will grow to love them. The game takes a completely different approach to the Final Fantasy series. It features a much faster-paced combat system, dropping the turn-based system and giving it more of a Kingdom Hearts feel. The game also drops the experience points, and in return adds in a new engine known as the DMW, or Digital Mind Wave. It is basically a slot machine that rolls around at a certain point, and has 3 reels, each containing numbers and pictures. The DMW is questionable though. While leveling up is not as important as it is in other games, it is entirely random as to when you level up, so you might level up 5 times in 10 minutes, or you can level up once in an hour. The DMW does have a bit more depth to it though. You can also level up your materia with it. A regular level up occurs when you get 777s, but you can level up your materia by getting 2 of one number, or you can activate limit breaks to replenish your health, magic, ability points. While the frantic slashing and excessive flashing lights is exhilarating, it can sometimes end up being a button masher, and a lot of the combat in the first half of the game is really easy. When you're not in combat, you'll be on the field or in a Shinra building. The Shinra building is quite open to explore for the most part, but the fields are mostly linear, consisting of 1 or 2 paths to follow. So if exploration is what you're looking for, this game is not what you're going to be interested in. The game is quite action-heavy, featuring a lot of CGI sequences. The graphics in this game are beautiful though. The CGI graphics are definitely some of the best on the PSP, and the in-game graphics compare to a lot of the PS2 games. While they may not be as awe-inspiring as the Final Fantasy VII graphics in their time, they're pretty good. The sound, on the other hand, isn't as stellar as the graphics. While a lot of the remixed original songs are pretty cool, and a lot of the boss songs are extremely well done, some of the field sounds are just awful. If nothing exciting is happening at any time in the game, you get some of the worst music from the soundtrack. A good thing is, a lot does happen in this game, so it's not a lot that you're going to be hearing this bad music. The storyline of Crisis Core was quite worrying. After seeing Advent Children and getting the extremely long action sequences and very short storyline scenes, many were worried about this game being the same. But yes, the storyline in this game is great. While it isn't as deep as some other games, it does entertain and fills in a lot of the plot holes from the original game. It is moving at times, but other times it does drag just a bit. One problem, frequently seen in games, is the missing ability to skip cutscenes, especially in plot-heavy games. It isn't important much unless you get stuck on a tough part and have to continuously sit through the long sequences, and in this game there are quite a few of those scenes. The difficulty of this game can be chosen right at the very beginning. You can choose from normal mode and hard mode. Both start out fairly easy since you have very limited options, but about 3 or so hours into the game, it does begin to get a bit more challenging, but it's nothing to get worked up about. The main storyline of the game isn't very long, probably about 20 hours for most people, maybe 15 for the experienced players. There's a long list of side missions which you can complete, which are necessary for leveling up and strengthening your materia. There's like about another 10 to 15 hours or so to complete all these missions, and there's many secrets in this game, so you can easily get your clock to around 40 hours or so. At the cost of $39.99, you do get a good value for your money, and this is the kind of game you will want to play again. The game was worth the wait, since we all knew more games would appear in the world of Final Fantasy VII. The game is not for everyone though, since you do need to have played the original game to understand a lot of the events played out. Does the game deserve to receive the positive reviews it does? Yes. In my opinion, it's a lot more fun than the original game, but certain aspects such as a milder difficulty, weaker music, and a tough leveling system keep this game from being perfect. In the end, Crisis Core receives an 8.9 out of 10.